Hi, welcome to my podcast, Help Me Rhonda. I'm your host, Dr. Rhonda Karg. I'm a clinical psychologist, and each episode of this podcast, I present mental health related information to you in hopes that it will improve your mental health either by helping you to gain insight or by learning new skills that I teach as part of this podcast. So, welcome. And today I'm going to be talking about ways that we can show up for ourselves in terms of checking in and seeing what do I need to do to take care of myself. Remember, that is your priority, your health and your well-being, and the importance of checking in with yourself throughout the day to see how you're feeling. Remember to pause and take care of yourself. If you're hungry, have a little snack. If you're angry, maybe do something physical to work through that anger. If you're lonely, maybe you can call a friend. But if you're one of those things, pause. If you're two of those things, stop and take care of yourself. If you're three of those things, hungry, angry, lonely, tired, you need to stop and you need to wave at people from across the room, because I promise you, you are not in a good place right now. You're just not. You need to put yourself in timeout if you're three of those, okay? And it's okay. Maybe you need to go home, get out of your work clothes. Maybe you need to get in bed. I call it baby blanket time. Maybe you need to chill for 15 minutes, soothe yourself, and then you can maybe interact with your family, or maybe, make that difficult phone call that you need to make. But you better calm yourself down before you try to do that if you're three of those. Okay? For sure. You need to stop immediately, soothe yourself, and then re-enter the world. Okay? Um but it's so important for self-care to catch yourself fast. You don't want to be out here getting triggered. You want to keep yourself calm. And if you wake up in the morning and you are already anxious, buddy, you better get some coping skills together. You better get some skills together to soothe yourself using the five senses. Use the five senses, whether it's watching a time-lapse video of plants growing like I do, or whether it's listening to Beethoven, or whether it's petting your animals, or whatever it might be for you. But to get your arousal level, to get it so that you're less adrenalized, get it down to like a 4 or 5. If you are operating on a scale of 1 to 10, a 10 being the red zone, if you're operating at like a 7 or 8, if you wake up that way and you don't do anything to calm yourself down, it's not going to take you much to go into the red zone. That's when people get into like road rage situations and things like that. Like, you have to be really careful. So try, if you notice yourself at like a 7 or 8, man, you better go. You better get the hell out of Dodge. You better go soothe yourself. It's so important for all of us to have an arsenal of things that we can do to soothe ourselves and to get ourselves back down to a 3. Really is would be great. Um, it would be great, if you could keep yourself around there, and trying to think about building in self-soothing into your schedule throughout the day in order to keep yourself as calm as possible. Okay? So checking in with yourself is a really good idea. It's a really good idea for you. It'll help you feel in control of yourself. You won't be getting triggered. You will be acting instead of reacting. You'll have that time to pause and think about what you're about to do. You'll have that time to consider, how would you like to best take care of yourself in this situation? What's the best thing to do? How do you need to get yourself right before you respond to the situation? What do you need to do to get yourself right? What do you need to do to get yourself right by self-soothing? And I would really encourage you to check in with yourself throughout the day and practice self-soothing as you need in order to keep yourself down below like a 4 or 3, something like that would be good. If you can do that. If you're operating at a 7 or 8, it's not going to take you much to get into the red zone, like a 10. And then you might do things that are impulsive. Do you might self-harm, you might use substances, you might get into a fight with someone. You're going to do things that you regret. That is the red zone is a dangerous place to be. You really don't want to be there. Okay, especially people that are working on their emotion regulation. It's so important to check in with yourself. Am I hungry, angry, lonely, tired? If so, what do I need to do to take care of myself? If you're feeling anxious, practice some self-soothing skills to get you less tense, get that adrenaline down, get you in a better place so that you can think better, so that you can think more clearly. You're not walking around in fight or flight. So important. So be creative. The ways that you can self-soothe are infinite, really. There's so many, from essential oils. Remember the five senses: what you touch, what you smell, what you see, what you hear, what you taste. You can use tea, you can use essential oils, you can be creative. There's all kinds of things that you can do to soothe yourself. I used to soothe myself with an old blanket that my dogs used to sleep on because it smelled like my dogs. And yes, that's I would not give that blanket to someone else, but for me it was really soothing. And I'm sure that the people that were on the airplanes were so happy that I brought that blanket on the plane with me, right? But it was a long overseas flight. I needed that blanket. Anyway, thanks so much for tuning in. I hope that you heard something today that will help you. I appreciate your support. Thanks for your time, and I hope that you enjoy the rest of your day.